Well, there's been a lot going on at the Solid Rock Church at Market Commons in Myrtle Beach, hasn't there, friends? My. How the walls came a tumbling down. And let's hope they never are rebuilt, not under the leadership of John Paul Miller. Let's hope he never finds his place on an altar teaching again because he doesn't deserve that status. We see where that kind of power has led. So, my opinion, my opinion. How y'all doing today? I hope you're having a good one. I'm Chevy Cool Lady. So happy you have joined me. Thank you for taking your time out of your day. If this is your first time visit, this is a cool spot to think outside the box. Your ideas are welcome. We talk about all kinds of cool subjects that have to do with both Christian life and true crime. All right, so if you haven't been here before, you're more than welcome. If it sounds like a good fit, please consider liking and subscribing. If you are one of my faithful subs, you know you mean the world to me. Love you so much. And today, let's get into what's happened at the Solid Rock Church. Now, living water, no matter how tacky that is, I guess they're going with it. Okay, let's talk. Okay, so what is going on at Solid Rock? It's hard to say. To the best of my ability, let me just clear up these three items. No, he has not been arrested or apprehended, as far as I know. Two, the dead body found on or near his church property has not been identified, nor has it been connected with John Paul. And three, is he really starting a new church? And where is it going to be? Previous locations? What's your call on that? And what do you think? Do you think somebody like that should be up and preaching again? I think I've expressed myself. What's your see what the Sun News has to say. Let's see what the Sun News has to say about John Paul Miller starting a new church in Myrtle Beach. It comes as FBI does investigation. This is a story by Emmeline Muzzy for the Sun News. Now, you'll recall the Sun News is a local Myrtle Beach paper. You may also recall, from my opinion and from what I saw, to be very anti-protester during the whole thing, from the beginning. It's in my opinion, of course, but that's what I saw. So let's see what the paper has to say about this particular situation, keeping the community updated on the infamous man, so-called man, I think. Okay, so John Paul Miller, the former pastor at Solid Rock Church, which indeed, did he ever really give up that position? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. He may not have preached as much as he did, but who was really running the show this whole time? Did he really step down? Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so the former pastor at Solid Rock Church in Market Common has applied to start a new ministry in Myrtle Beach amid controversy regarding the death of his wife, Micah Miller. Yeah. John Paul Miller applied for a business license to start Living Water Church at Market Common Incorporated on October 17th. The business license for Solid Rock Ministry is still active as of November 6th, although the website is no longer active. Micah Miller committed in April, and we are still not convinced of that. And following her death, John Paul Miller has been accused of being involved in her and his wife. And we know those things are more than allegations, don't we now? I'm not afraid to say that there's many affidavits on file, as well as contributing to her mental health issues, which Micah Miller had talked about on her Facebook page. And we know about CC and DV and the effects on mental health, don't we? He has repeatedly denied abusing or being involved in her death. Her death has gained national attention. A group of protesters have gathered outside Solid Rock Church at 803 Howard Avenue every Sunday. Let me say thank you so much for every one of you who put your boots on the ground, who put feet to your faith and stood there with all this going on. Thank you for showing up. Whether you came one time or you came every time. Thank you. Okay, so a group of protesters have gathered outside Solid Rock Church at 803 Howard Avenue every Sunday since May, demanding justice for Micah and for John Paul Miller to be arrested. Oh, may that hope happen soon. On November 5th, movers were seen removing items from Solid Rock Church and placing them in the moving trucks before driving away. The Solid Rock lettering was also taken off the sign of the front of the building. A business license for Solid Rock Ministries LLC was first effective in 2006, and the church bought the former Air Force Base chapel in 2013, according to the land records and South Carolina Secretary of State documents. When controversy around Micah Miller's death began in May, the church temporarily took down its website. It's actually been up and down, stopped answering the phone calls, deleted John Paul's sermons online, and stopped allowing people to comment on Facebook posts. We'll just leave that alone. Y'all know. Y'all know why. Charles Randall, who oversees the church, did not comment when asked why the church was packing up on Tuesday. And I want to know, why were the assets all conveniently signed over to you? I'm just curious. What's the real deal, Charles Randall? A call to Russell Long, the somewhat rumpled attorney for John Paul Miller, of course, did not return that call. Okay, so Solid Rock bought a piece of land nearby in 2023 when times were good and money was great and tithes were rolling like the tide at midnight, okay? With plans to build a larger church. Construction has not begun for the new building. For an address for Living Water Church, John Paul Miller put down his Coldwater Circle home in the Common Market area. Now, that doesn't seem like you should be able to use your church or your home for a church in a neighborhood like that, but okay. I don't know that it's wrong either. It just seems a little odd. The move out of Solid Rock comes less than a week after the FBI searched John Paul Miller's house. The FBI has not released information on why the officers were searching the residential home. The Sun News requested the search warrant newspapers here are reporting about John Paul Miller. This is from News 13 WBTW. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Days after the home of Solid Rock pastor John Paul Miller was investigated by FBI agents, people were seen moving items out of the Market Common Church today on Tuesday, carrying what appeared to be furniture and equipment from the property. Probably safe to say that's what it was. The Howard Avenue Church has been the site of weekly domestic violence awareness protests since Pastor John Paul Miller's estranged wife died by blank to blank in April and was being emptied out on Tuesday. News 13 also learned on Tuesday that Miller has filed articles of incorporation for a new place of worship, Living Water Church at Market Common, at the same address as Solid Rock Ministries, according to the South Carolina Secretary of State records. Okay. Miller's advisors, Charles Randall, refused to comment on the future of Solid Rock Church on Tuesday when contacted by News 13. He was seen helping move items at the church. Neither Miller nor his attorney, Russell Long, has responded to multiple interview requests since Friday. Surprise, surprise. A News 13 crew saw workers loading equipment into several trailers that were driven off-site. Solid Rock's distinctive sign was previously stripped of its white lettering, and information about service time and its website were also removed. So controversy has swirled around Miller and Solid Rock Ministries since his wife Michael was found dead in late April at the Lumber River State Park in Robeson County. Her death was eventually ruled a blank, but the case sparked nationwide interest because of the allegations that she was blanked by her husband before death. And there they are, like a little assembly line, moving stuff out of the church. The activity at Miller's 803 Howard Avenue Church comes 4 days after an FBI operation at his Coldwater Circle home in Myrtle Beach, which is really just blocks away, ended up with multiple boxes of evidence being seized. They were there about 5 hours, and box after box, at least 30, 40 boxes, I don't know. It remains unclear why the FBI was at Miller's home for several hours on Friday. See, a lot of people say it's that Section 18 and whatnot, but has that actually been released, or was that just someone saying that? I know it's been reported by everybody. I'm just curious if that was released by authorities, because I haven't seen that. A spokesperson told News 13 on Friday that the agency does not comment on potential indictments. Both Solid Rock Church and Miller's home in the nearby Azalea Lakes neighborhood are part of the $5.59 million real estate portfolio operated by Solid Rock Ministries. Melissa Pfeiffer, a regular demonstrator outside the church on Sundays, was emotional on Tuesday as she watched, and she hoped were Solid Rock's church final days. So, whatever happened with this? John Paul Miller sues paralegal for $6 million and claims she slandered and libeled him on YouTube and TikTok. I'm a little confused. I don't fully believe that the church is shutting down, she said. I think that they're just moving to a different location. And that they think that's going to stop the protesters, but they can't hide forever. We'll figure out where they are, and we'll be on the sidewalk on Sunday morning. Miller has not been charged in connection with Micah's death, but previously admitted to police that had multiple GPS trackers placed on her vehicles and leaked a topless photo of her online. He admitted to the police, because he's also denied about all that too, hasn't he? Remember, even whole nother story. We'll keep going. Micah, a talented singer, was active in Solid Rock for years, and Pfeiffer said her connection to the church made Tuesday's activity bittersweet. This is over. John Paul Miller, Micah's family reached an agreement ending all legal dispute. That was the global settlement, as they call it. While Solid Rock's fate remains unknown, Miller appears to be embarking on a new adventure. On October 17th, articles of incorporation were accepted in South Carolina for Living Water Church at Market Common Incorporated, and Miller is listed as its registered agent with his home address. Miller has applied for federal 501c3 nonprofit status for Living Water. The IRS approves, and at some point Living Water is dissolved. All of assets would be distributed to St. Delight Pentecostal Church, a tiny little river-based church where Randall is the pastor, and that is also in the story.
Russell Long, one of Miller's attorneys, said he had no details about the search, adding that the FBI was fishing There was no affidavit attached to the search warrant. Therefore, I have no idea what it's in relation to, Long said. After the FBI had completed its search, Long said he hoped this is the end of it, referring to any investigation into his client.
Yeah, parallel investigation. There have been times where, state agencies and government agencies have conducted investigations into the same victim, if you will. Those two investigations are conducted in a way that the state handles their portion, but the federal agents are looking at it from a completely different lens. So yeah, but they are both working together. So in a case like this, I can see where they may have cleared him from physically acting in her demise, but there are other charges that could stem from her demise that he was listed as a suspect in. So yeah, but it's going to be very interesting. I've never seen a case such as this in my years of investigating cases. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see. And that's the reason why you saw the FBI going into the house and looking for physical evidence like diaries and things of that nature. She may have written something down.
Let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy the couple past weeks, months, years, but I've kind of had to keep my circle really small for the past couple weeks just because I'm going through a lot and it's hard and it's my cross to bear. It's the thing that God has put in my life to deal with, and I don't want to bring a lot of people into it.
When it comes to basically, once we came across it, me and the team, none of it made sense to us. When it comes to where the evidence was, the different I would say injuries or the way that certain things happen without being too graphic to the body, and how it doesn't make sense with how her body was found. There's just a lot of things in this case that just don't make sense. And whenever myself and the team come across cases where a lot of things don't make sense, that's when we try and get in and help any way we can.
6 months for something to be done, and hopefully justice will come faster and he'll be put in handcuffs and put in jail.
You read their messages and their statements, they just get done telling you about her mental health and how it's what contributed to what took place. And then after they tell you that, they then double down again on it, just to remind you in case you forgot about the last sentence that you read. So there's a lot of interesting things that are odd and don't make sense. And that's why we're here. We're just trying to help find.
Good job, CJ, in emphasizing the fact that the media has played up, as John Paul Miller has, Micah's supposed mental illness, which we as a public, as a community, never really saw the kind of evidence that would suggest she had the mental illness that they've claimed. In any case, you did a good job speaking up for Micah, as well as the coverage you've done, and I appreciate that. I also wanted to address the fact that this is a process, and seeing the FBI raid was satisfying. But we're not done yet. There's still legislature to pass, and there's still victims to speak for. People who are still currently in situations very much like Micah's, and we want to somehow become better listeners, better people through the tragedy that we've all experienced in reporting and in protesting and in supporting Micah in the way that we do as individuals. So I just want to tell everybody, hang in there. There is always light at the end of the tunnel, and good things are coming still. They're still coming. And we haven't seen everything, but we've seen some things. And I'm glad to be in this fight with you guys. Justice for Micah.